Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and for my French speaking people, bonjour ou bonsoir. Hex here again. I'm here to bring you a sequel to the HTML video I made. Alright, so we're going to be talking about CSS, but you'll need the knowledge or the understanding from the HTML to understand the CSS. So I suggest you watch the video that just popped up. So thank you very much. Okay. So, we're going to be talking about what CSS is, what are the functions. We're going to look at the syntax. We're going to look at the whole 9 yards. Okay, let's get it. So, cascading style sheets. So, to me, I would say it's a language used to style the element, and to be precise, the HTML element. All right, so now let's boil it down a little bit. That's a lot of, words. Okay, so basically, I'll just say it controls the layout of the web page. So basically, it's if you want something left, you can do it with CSS. If you want something in the middle, you do it with CSS. If you want it anywhere on the screen, if you want to add something, make it look cool, you do it with CSS. Very simple. All right, so um, so you can, in other words, you can simply say it's to beautify the web page or make it beautiful, in my opinion. Right. So now, in the last video, I did not cover how to make, I mean, how to create a file, an HTML file, and then I did not speak about all that. So I'm going to talk about this right now. All right. So now the file, but the problem is there's something you need to do. It's called file organization. So I'm going to show you a quick example. So yeah, I have mine here. I stored it in YouTube HTML, and then I go in. I go in, and then I have my CSS, my HTML, my image. It's just like making a folder, and then making 3 extra folders or 4 because it can have JavaScript. But here we're not talking about JavaScript right now. Okay, so now we can have this HTML and then some CSS, something nice, light. All right, and the images, I don't have a lot, but that's it. Okay, so that's it. Yeah, that's it. You can make it on your own. You can make it on your desktop. You can make it in any way you want to do it. So yeah, you can just do that. Okay. So yeah, boom. All right, all right, all right, all right. So I'm in my YouTube folder right here. Okay, that's my folder tab. It's my outline. It's my timeline. But we're worried about this now. Okay. So now, yep. Okay. So now let's make a new file. Control N. All right. Control N. And then we press Control Shift S to save it first. Okay. So now we're gonna save it in HTML, right? So we're gonna call it CSS intro.html. Okay. Simple. No spaces. All right. Okay. This is now an HTML document. Boom, boom, boom. Yep, and boom, you're cooking with gas. All right, so I'm going to change the title to this. Okay, for beginners, let me just add that real quick. Okay, so here we have our nice HTML page. We're gonna do this, work with it later. Then we make a new one, Control N again. Then we put Control Shift S or Control S. Now we go back and then we go into the CSS. See, it changed, right? So now we're gonna do it. We're not gonna do CSS because it's styled. I mean, the extension is called .css. So we're gonna call it intro. Ooh, intro.css. Okay, that's simple enough, right? Boom. We're clicking we guess. Okay. All right. So now we save that. We click in. All right. So now I spoke about file organization and I spoke about how to make them. I mean, make the HTML and CSS file. Okay. So now let's talk about how to link them, like how to link the CSS to the HTML. Then we can work on some CSS and see how it looks like. All right, so there are three ways to link or add CSS to HTML. Okay, so now we're going to talk about this. So the first one will be the inline method. So the inline method is basically like you write your code or your CSS code in the HTML element. And now if you remember what we spoke about elements in the last video, I believe you'll understand what we're talking about right here. So yes, it acts like an attribute and is declared in the HTML element. Okay, so it is also found in the opening tag naturally. So now I'm going to show you an example of this. Okay. So let's say we have a p tag, a paragraph tag, and then we add the style attribute, and we put equals, and then we put quotes, and then let's say we want color. Before that though, we're gonna add hello. This is an intro to CSS. Okay, simple enough, right? Now we're gonna add the attribute of this. Okay. Oops. All right. So now what do we have? What do we want to do with this? So I think I want to color it. I don't know if you what your favorite color is, but mine is blue. All right, we got that. And then now let's see how it looks like. We go to a live server right here. Go live. Boom. Oops. All right. So we see here it says, "Hello, this is an intro to CSS." Nice. Now let's say I want to center all this here. I can do it with CSS. Very simple. So now I add the attribute text. Oops. Okay. All right. I'm supposed to do it inside the quote. Okay. So I put line, text align. I mean, oops. Let's say yikes. Text align. Oh, that's not what I meant to click. Like it gives you a drop down, but I don't know why it's clicking off. Center. All right. So this is to center my text right here. Let's see if it works. All right. Boom. Yay. It's in the middle now. So basically that is inline CSS. Very simple to understand. Okay. So now I'm going to tell you an advantage of this and a disadvantage of it also, just to balance it out. Okay. So an advantage will be that it does not need any extra files. It's straight in the HTML file. You don't need to make a CSS file. So that's an advantage. The disadvantage will be the fact that multiple elements, like the more the elements or the more the tags, like the heavier it gets, the bigger it gets in size. So it slows down your web page when someone like tries to call it, or should I say, type your or search for your web page basically. So yeah, it slows it down and it's very bad. Nobody wants a slow website. So yeah, that's a disadvantage. Okay. So maybe we've spoken about the inline CSS right here. Now let's move on. Okay, let's move on. We're going to talk about internal CSS. So internally, it's a method. Okay, so how do we do this? They all do the same thing. They add CSS to HTML, but here the internal is not in the HTML tag. I mean the HTML element, yeah, or the tag, but it's in the head section. Yeah, it's in the head section. Okay, so now it's the same thing, but we're just gonna do a style. All right, boom, style. Open it up, and then we're gonna, you know, give it a selector. We're gonna be talking about that in in the syntax. So you put a selector. In this case, it's P. No, actually, I'll make a new statement. All right, I'll make a new statement. All right, so I'll use let me just use H1. Okay, H1. Welcome. Oh, welcome to my YouTube video. All right. Okay, simple enough, simple enough. Now we're gonna call this H1 is a selector. I'm gonna go in def later. So H1. So I got my H1, and now we're gonna apply the same colors to it. Color blue. Okay. Then now text align center. All right. Let's see if it worked. Oh, it worked nicely. Remember I explained what the H1 tag does? Is basically the header a header tag. It goes from 1 to 6. So yeah, 1 through 6 with different sizes. You can check the previous video for reference. All right, so that was internal CSS. Okay, nicely done. Now let's go to the cake. But before that, I'm gonna give you an advantage and a disadvantage, just like the inline CSS. So the advantage will be that it does not need any extra files, just like the inline. But the disadvantage is also the fact that the more like code you write, the bigger in size it gets. So the loading time becomes very slow. Like I mean, super slow. Like, would you like a website to be very slow? For example, you open your Facebook or something and then see that it's not working. That'll not be fun, if you ask me. So yeah, that it becomes slow because there's a lot of code in the HTML. That's why they brought CSS. I mean, the external CSS to make your life easier. This is just for lightweight stuff, just like this. But for heavy coding, or maybe a lot of coding, a lot of styling, I'm supposed to say, you need to do it externally. All right. So now we're going to talk about external CSS. So you could you can do this by making an extra file like we did the HTML, the intro CSS.css, that is. All right, now let me show you how to link it. Now to link with the external, you're gonna need to add a tag, and that tag is called link. Yeah, you know, cliche, I know. Okay, so link, and then now you're gonna call the CSS. But the thing is, it's not in the same folder, like I said with file organization. So you're gonna need to go up a bit. It's like directory. It's basically directory. You need to change your directory. So you can use this by doing this, the dot operator, dot dot, forward slash. This takes you back to the root um, directory, if you know what I'm saying. And then you check the CSS. Then now you can just click it. It's intro.css and boom, you're linked. But first, let's add some tags, you know. I'm going to take this out because it's going to affect what we're doing. But no, actually, I'm going to leave it there. And then I'm going to use a different tag. So let's say H2. Do not mind how rough it is. This is just for learning purposes. Okay, so H2. My name is, oops, Hacks. All right, Hacks. All right. So my name is Hacks. So now we're gonna style this in the next video. This will be a three-part series because I don't want to lose your attention span. So I will post the second part very soon. Thank you very much. I'm Hacks, and I'm out. Peace.